Alright, next example. Now this one's a little bit different because we're not going to use a trig identity, or we're going to use a trig identity, but we're not going to use a Pythagorean identity because, again, it's really up to you as far as what you change. You want to use things that you know or that you have. So 3 sine of x minus 2, there's really nothing there that I can adjust that into. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this cosine of 2x, which is really just a double angle. Now, again, with a double angle, I have, especially of cosine, I have 3 options. I could either have cosine squared of x minus sine squared of x. That doesn't really do me any good because it still has a cosine in there. Same way if I have 2 cosine squared of x minus 1, I still have a cosine, which is not what I want. I want to turn this thing into where I only am dealing with sine values. So I'm going to use the third double angle formula, essentially, or identity, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to say 1 minus 2 sine squared of x, and then plus 3 sine x minus 2 equal to 0. So I've got a little bit of cleanup here as far as getting things to combine or like terms, however you want to look at it. So negative 2 sine squared x. Nothing changes with the plus 3 sine of x. I do need to combine my terms and have 1 minus 2, so negative 1 equal to 0. Now, just like I did before, I need to get rid of, on the previous example, I need to get rid of that negative 1. So I can multiply everything by negative 1, I can divide by negative 1, whatever you want to call it. Okay? And whenever I do, I'm going to have 2 sine squared of x minus 3 sine of x plus 1 equal to 0. Again, it's completely up to you, just like it was the time before. If you want to let u equal sine of x, go for it. I'm going to, just because I think it's easier to factor. So I'm going to have 2u squared minus 3u plus 1 equal to 0. So then 2u u equals 0. I have a 1 negative and a negative 1. So then break everything up. 2u minus 1 equals 0. U minus 1 equals 0. So I have u equal to 1, and I have u equal to 1/2. Remember that u is really just sine of x. So I have sine of x equal to 1/2. I have sine of x equal to 1. So then it just becomes finding my values. Again, it's really up to you how you do it. If you want to use the circle, use the circle. Well, when is my y value 1? Okay, that's the easy one. Y value is 1, right up top. Okay, y is 1 at pi over 2. So, pi over 2 is one of my answers. Then, when is it at 1/2? So, 1/2, just the standard, pi over 6. Another one, 5 pi over 6. So, pi over 6 and 5 pi over 6. Here are my 3 answers.